Welcome back to Sarnia, Lambton today here on your TV. Well, certainly over the course of the last couple of weeks with the Taylor Swift concerts in Toronto, lots of excitement, but some disappointed people as well as they fell victim to various scams when it came to tickets, whether the tickets were never going to be there to start with, or maybe they thought they had tickets and then they fell into some other hands. And to talk more about that and some cybersecurity tips, we're joined by Steve Tcherchian, who's with xypro.com, a cybersecurity expert. And Steve, I appreciate the time. And right off the bat, obviously a lot of discussion with these concert tickets. Of course, the Taylor Swift concerts in Toronto over the last couple of weeks, a hot topic among here with our viewers as well. But people ran into some issues, and I know dealing with their tickets and companies like Ticketmaster. Fill us in for people not aware what some things and some people were dealing with that unfortunately led to some disappointing results.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, but people are getting tickets stolen right out of their Ticketmaster accounts. And it's anything creative or anything sophisticated. These attacks are just focusing in on improper cybersecurity practices. Most consumers do not practice good cybersecurity online. It's not that it's intentional, they're just unaware of it, or the service they're using doesn't provide it. And this is leading hackers to be able to just log into their accounts and transfer those tickets, those very expensive, very coveted tickets, right out of their accounts and disappears overnight.
Yeah, so this was a case where people had bought tickets through Ticketmaster, legitimately, they had the tickets, and then their accounts fell victim. What's the most common situation you see and hear of how people do fall victim? As you said, it sounds like simple things like not having a good password.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. It's not having a good password. Interestingly enough, though, it's not that their accounts are getting hacked. Think about the passwords you use to log into multiple websites. Most people use the same password from website to website to website. So even though Ticketmaster got hacked earlier this year, it wasn't that caused people's accounts to get compromised. It's other websites that those users were probably registered to, where they use the same username and password that they use for Ticketmaster. Those accounts or those websites probably got hacked. And you can just go on the dark web, buy a username and password list for pennies on the dollar. And then these hackers just go in and practice a process called credential stuffing, where they take those username and passwords and they try logging in from website to website to website and see where those username and passwords will work. Ticketmaster is not synonymous with good cybersecurity. So most of the time, those username and passwords work on the Ticketmaster website. They log in and can see what tickets you have access to and then transfer them right out. The very, very first thing to do, guys, is make sure that you're using very, very strong passwords and make sure they are different from website to website.
I'm sure there's people out there to then say, Steve, that how do I remember all my passwords? How do I keep track? What sort of tips do you give people so that they have an effective password on their sites, but also different passwords?
Yeah, using a password vault or a password manager is a good practice. Saving passwords on your desktop in a file called passwords.txt is not good password management. So there's a lot of tools out there that'll do exactly this for you. They're built to store your passwords in an encrypted, in a very secure way online where you don't have to remember the passwords. You basically have to set a very strong, very strong key to enter the vault, and it'll do all the password management for you. So look into that, password manager or password vault.
What about also, when it comes into things like, two-factor identification? You get a text to your phone, for example, to complete the login. How secure, how effective are things like that?
Terry, that gives you the best security bang for your buck is using two-factor authentication. Enable that wherever it's offered. If a service you're using doesn't offer two-factor authentication, I would reconsider using that service because you're going to be victim at some point to a compromise. Two-factor authentication means that even though your username and password are compromised and it's in somebody else's hands, they cannot log into your account without that second factor, which means receiving a text to your phone or a link to your email or what have you. It's just what you want to prevent is a password list from falling into a hacker's hand and then them having your username and password, and that's the only thing that they can use to log into your account. So turn on two-factor authentication everywhere you can.
Steve, you mentioned emails, and obviously people at times they'll receive an email that looks like it's coming from the company, and we can name any company in Canada or the US. The big header, it says that it's from there, but of course it's not in a lot of cases. And usually it seems to be lately, congratulations, you've won a contest, or things like that. What do you tell people to say when they receive something in their email, it looks like it's legitimate, but turns out it's not? What tips do you give for them?
Ignore, ignore, ignore. Don't open it. Don't click on it. Most of the time, 99% of the time, they're going to be a scam. And why you're receiving so much of this? Because it's working. It's people are falling victim to this over and over and over. Like you said, Terry, the emails look very, very legitimate. But if you look at them closely, there's going to be a lot of giveaways. There's going to be grammar errors. There's going to be, if you look at the link or the URL, that's being sent to you, you'll notice maybe a misspelling, an intentional misspelling to try and make it look like a legitimate website. But most of the time, just ignore it. If you didn't purchase anything, if you didn't log into a website, if you didn't do any of the activities, if it seems too good to be true, just ignore it. They're trying to prey on people's sense of urgency or responsiveness, and it's just not, just don't fall for it. So there's a lot of tools out there that can help you eliminate those emails before they even hit your inbox. But like I said, if you get something about a fraud alert, or if you get something that seems like you made an order or there's a delivery coming, just don't click on it, don't open it, ignore it. If you think it might be legitimate, call the company directly. Don't call the phone number in the email. Google it or look on the phone number on your credit card and call the company directly to verify.
And I guess another option would be, of course, the same idea. If you went to that company's website, okay, I did an order there in the last couple weeks. Ignore the email, go to the company's website directly, look into that. If there's nothing there, then I guess there is no issue from that standpoint. Are you surprised with all the discussions, like a discussion we have here, and so many things published, that unfortunately people still fall prey to these?
It is. It's 2025, and this is still happening. And why it's still happening is because people are falling victim to it still. And it's not because, again, it's not intentional. It's just a lot of people the internet is new to them still. The internet's been around for 30 years, but a lot of people now are using it in different ways. And again, are always go, 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 go type of mentality. These hackers are preying on your sense of urgency. Oh my gosh, I got a fraud alert. I've got to do something about it right away before my bank account gets strained. That's not the case, but that fear, instilling that fear in you is going to trigger action. And in most cases, it's the wrong action.
Is there more of a risk, same risk, whether, for example, clicking on something on your desktop computer or laptop versus on a phone? Is there any difference?
No, there's no difference. I mean, phones can get compromised, desktops can get compromised. They say Macs are better at handling viruses and ransomware than Windows are, but every device has its vulnerabilities. I mean, just look at Apple the other day, just put out a new update to iOS for a vulnerability that existed for a while that hackers were starting to exploit. So there's no difference. It doesn't matter if you're checking on something on your phone, if you're checking something on your laptop, either of them are going to be vulnerable if the right type of exploit is there.
Have you found in the last few years with the advent of cryptocurrency where people sometimes, as part of scams, looking for payments or looking for something through crypto, because of course that can't be tracked in pretty much any form, that's sort of the whole point of it, are you finding where another thing there, if someone's being asked to pay for something via crypto, maybe get the spidey senses up that something's wrong here?
Absolutely. And unfortunately, ransomware is one of the biggest contributors when it comes to usage of cryptocurrency in the hackers world. So ransomware is where they log into your computer, or they get you to click on a link and it downloads some malicious payload to your computer and locks out all of your files. Now, once that happens, panic sets in. The hackers will demand a payment in cryptocurrency to get your files back. Unfortunately, 99% of people don't even know what cryptocurrency is, let alone how to transact with it. So again, panic sets in and they don't know what to do. So yeah, anytime that you get an email saying, pay me this much money in crypto, otherwise I'm going to release personal files about you, or I'm going to encrypt your files, or et cetera. Again, ignore, ignore, ignore.
We've talked a lot on the personal level, but unfortunately organizations are targeted with ransomware. We saw it, unfortunately, in the last year in our region with the network of hospitals that were targeted with ransomware. And obviously, I'm sure it's a discussion where in some cases companies have decided to pay or looked into that. Others have said, not a chance, we're not paying. I'm guessing the latter is the recommendation to companies to say, you fell victim, unfortunately, with ransomware, but certainly don't be opening up the purses to pay it off.
Yeah, I recommend the same is even if you fall victim to it, it's if you can avoid paying it because once you pay it, then they know they've got a live one on the line and they'll just keep coming back and keep coming back. Perfect example, a couple of years ago, the MGM breach. That was a ransomware attack, but 2 weeks before MGM got breached, Caesars Entertainment Group got a ransomware demand as well. Caesars decided to pay the ransom. The hackers went away and targeted somebody else. That's rare that that happens, but if you get a request for this, the FBI here in the US and everywhere else, they recommend do not pay the ransom if you can avoid it. Unfortunately, there's a lot of cases where you don't have a choice. You've got to get your business up and running. So, do as you do as you wish.
In situations where that does happen, is it a case where the company or the organization, someone missed something to allow the ransomware to even get in there to start with?
Yeah, absolutely. It's an ounce of protection is goes a long way here. So if you can close all the doors, lock all the windows, and make sure that your attack surface, meaning the vulnerable points where ransomware can even be introduced, are minimized, then their chances of getting ransomware in there they're gonna look somewhere else. Unfortunately, there's a lot of industries that don't prioritize good cybersecurity practices. We're seeing this a lot in the healthcare world now where they're constantly, they've got to serve patients, they've got to transact, they've got to do all the things that they need to do to keep the healthcare system running. Unfortunately, hackers know this, that security isn't going to be a priority. And they target those types of hospitals and medical institutions and those types of things, which we're seeing a lot of recently.
Steve, to kind of summarize our conversation, for just that average person watching us tonight, what are the big keys that they need to know that you want them to take away from this conversation to protect themselves online?
Turn on two-factor authentication for every type of service that you're using. Do that right away. For any email accounts that you have, for any services, bank accounts, devices within your own home. I know we've got smart devices everywhere. All of those services offer two-factor authentication. Turn it on. Turn it on for your phone as well. Both iPhone and Android offer this. Turn on two-factor authentication. Make sure you're using strong passwords, not easily guessable passwords. Use a passphrase, use a quote, use something from a book, a favorite song lyric. Make it as long as possible, but something that you're going to remember. Use a password manager and use separate passwords from website to website. Do not use the same password on every website.
Steve, before we let you go, we've got to ask because it also relates to our viewers here a little bit. We hear you're a big hockey fan in California.
Absolutely. Go Ducks. Unfortunately, we're not doing so well this year.
Well, Steve, we appreciate the time and hopefully people learn from our conversation. Hopefully the Ducks pick up their game over the next little while. Steve, we appreciate the time.
Absolutely. My pleasure.
Steve Tcherchian joining us from xypro.com with some insight on cybersecurity and to help keep you protected online. Stay tuned, more to come. You're watching Sarnia Lambton today on your TV.